Hi there, Natalie with you today with a new process video for Altenew. And today we're going to show you, or I'm going to show you a new idea on how to use the new mixed media inks to create a page for your memory keeping projects. And today Altenew, or yesterday should I say, Altenew released two new sets of the pigment inks, and these one are Glacier Caves, which is a set of blues, and Summer Afternoon, which is a set of yellows. So I'm going to use the inks to create an ombre background, and they're perfect for ink blending. So I'm using my ink blending tool, and I'm going to start with the lightest color in the Glacier Caves family, which is Arctic, and I'm just going to start applying it in a piece of cardstock. I'm using 140-pound cardstock for this. I'm just going to apply it from the top to, I'm going to say, around half point, and then I'm going to switch on to the next color, which is Caribbean Sky, and then I'm gonna say a third of the card with that, and then I'm gonna finish with Persian blue. And these inks are perfect for ink blending because they remain wet a little bit longer than the premium ink, so that helps you when it comes to combining colors and creating that smooth transition between the colors. And I'm just using my ink blending tool to help me with that. Once I have the three colors in my cardstock, I'm actually gonna use the woven stencil and the darkest color in this family, in this case that's sapphire, to create the impression just on the darkest part of my card. Very simple. These inks are perfect for stenciling because they create the crisp impression. Again, I'm using my ink blending tool, picking up some of the ink, going on a circular motion on top of the stencil to create my impression. Now, you can also bring a little bit of the mixed media touch by adding some distress to the inks, and they're perfect for coloring. They're perfect to create watercolor. So I'm gonna actually sprinkle some water onto my cardstock with the that already ink blend on it, and the water is gonna activate the pigment, kind of soak it up, kind of bleach it out. So I'm gonna leave the water on top of the paper, let it just move a little bit, and then I'm gonna soak up the excess with a piece of paper towel. And I have those bleach spots on my cardstock. So now I want to add a little bit extra color, and here's where having these inks are perfect for watercoloring because you can dilute them. So I'm just gonna stamp a little bit of the ink on a piece of acrylic and then dilute it with some water, and then apply the splatters onto my cardstock. Now, one of the things that it's the best part of this ink is that you can make it go permanent by applying heat to them. So this is exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring my embossing gun and just heat up the cardstock, and you're gonna see how it goes from being shiny to a completely matte finish, and then you know the ink is set, which means it becomes permanent and you cannot move it. So once I have that, I'm going to show you a few more things that you can create with this ink that are going to help me to create my little page. So one of the things that I love about the ink is that it creates crisp stamping impressions. So what I've done outside of the camera is I've used a terrific tags die set to cut 5 small white tags, and I'm gonna use the Cool Decades stamp set. There's a little image that has little dots to help me create some interest on my tags. So I'm gonna use the Summer Afternoon ink set for this. So you're gonna see that I'm just gonna bring the dots and start stamping them right on the area where the perforation is at, and I'm just gonna go again with the same colors, follow that ombre effect. I'm gonna use buttercream for one, warm sunshine for the next one, and then I'm gonna go into the caramel toffee one, and then finish with paper bag. So I want that transition on the colors, but I also want to add prompts onto these tags, something that's going to help me tell the story behind the picture. For that, I'm going to use 2 stamp sets. I'm using the tab stamp set because the sentiments are just, beautiful prompts for journaling, and the second one is the snapshot stamp set because it actually creates a little spot where I can add my little titles. So once again, I'm gonna follow the same colors that I use to create the little dots on the tags to create the sentiments on my tags. Once I have them all ready, I'm gonna go once again apply heat onto the tags to make the ink permanent, and then my idea is to glue them on the biggest piece of cardstock the size of my tea, and I think it's 5 by 8 and 8. Yeah, I cut to 5 by 8 inches, and then I'm just gonna kind of stack them on the left hand side of the page. and then for the right I have my picture. So pretty ready, and I'm going to continue working with another idea what you can do with these inks, and these inks are perfect for embossing. So I'm going to create my title for this. Literally what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my color cardstock by dragging ink. So I pulled out a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to use the same colors that I used on the tag to create my title, so the summer afternoon pigment ink. And literally what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the ink in that ombre or in the same color family that I have. So starting with the lightest to the darkest. So I'm going to start with buttercream, and then a little bit of summer's warm sunshine, and then caramel toffee, and then paper bag. And then I'm going to do it once I have the 4, I'm going to do it again. Once I have that ready, I'm going to come in with Pearl translucent embossing powder from Altenew, and then I'm going to heat it. Like I said, the fact that the pigment remains wet a little bit longer allows you to emboss your images and creates a crisp impression. And then I'm going to use the fine alphabet die set to die cut my title out of this background. For that, I'm just gonna take it to my die cutting machine and cut it all out, and I want to follow that nice ombre effect. What I'm gonna do now is once I have my letters ready, I'm actually going to add a piece of vellum behind the picture just to create some separation from the background. And I put some flowers. Whenever I create a project, I usually create extra flowers. So the ones I'm using are from the Build a Flower cone flower. And I brought some that had the same tones of orange and some that had some purple, just because it had the tones in the background. And then I'm going to use the words me today. That's the ones that I cut out of the background that I created by embossing the ink. And I'm gonna put them right under my picture, and then I just added a big flower next to the title and another 2 in between some of the tags. Then all I'm gonna do is use the prompts that I created in each of the tags to help me tell my journal, to tell the story of the picture. And I'm just gonna use the fine liners to write them down. And just to finish this, I'm actually going to use a little bit of brown twine, kind of a goldish tone to it, just to loop it through all the tags. You're going to see me that I'm just going to bring a piece of twine and start like looping it through like literally the holes of the tags. And then I'm going to keep the twine together by stapling to the top and the bottom of my page. And that's about it. I love how this turned out. I love the mixed media inks. Actually, one of my favorite things from Altenew, just because they're so versatile. You can watercolor, you can stamp, you can emboss, and you can create beautiful art journaling projects with them. As always, Altenew is always good at creating products that you go beyond paper crafting, and that's the idea with the mixed media inks, because you can use them on all types of surfaces. As always, do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. Thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care, guys.